Sceptile gonna fire off the breaking swipe. We see Zach go for an undercharge. What is he cooking up here? We see the aggressive pivot into Typhlosion. Giratina stays in, banks the charge move, and out comes Gator. Behind an energy and down a protection. We full send the beam. Does the opponent respect the damage? Welcome back to the channel. Today is Tuesday, aka League Rotation Day. The day where your YouTube feed is littered with top teams, best teams, and practice battles for the upcoming league rotations. I fully understand why a lot of content creators opt for this style of content on a Tuesday. It's a cheap and easy way of getting a bucket load of views. However, I for one find this very boring. If I wanted to hear someone yap and tell me what I should be doing in my life, I'd ring one of my parents. My dad always tells me I should be doing a lot better in my life at 36, but here we are. With that being said, we always post some actual Go Battle League footage. Today, we've got an incredible battle submission from one of our channel regulars, Zach, and he is doing exactly what I love to shoutcast, surprise nuking trainers in the Go Battle League. We've got Typhlosion running Solar Beam, we've got Dusknoir running Poltergeist. Need I say any more than that? Without any further ado, let's get into the battles. And in game one, Zach leads Shadow Sceptile into Gliscor. Not fantastic by any means. The opponent, of course, running Fury Cutter, the Pokemon I showcased yesterday, and I found it very problematic. Not picking up too many leads where Fury Cutter was advantageous. But the opponent licking their lips, seeing a grass type in the lead position, we say switch into Dusknoir. The opponent firing off Night Slash after Night Slash. Dusknoir tanks 2, returns fire with the Poltergeist, hoping to sneak through 2 Protect Shield. This opponent like, nah, invest that Protect Shield. We're able to reach the Dynamic Punch, unfortunately a very good move, but is going to be resisted due to Gliscor's sub-flying typing. Zach sends back out the Sceptile, just looks to force the energy. Hopefully not on Aerial Ace and Night Slash, a very cheesy moveset, but of course they are. Oh my days, it's all down to Typhlosion in battle number 1, looking to do the heavy lifting. Typhlosion invests the Protect Shield, the opponent then enters the mirror. Zach gonna tank the Thunder Punch, not knowing what's in the back. Thunder Punch potentially not the hardest hitting move left in the game, but we might actually be saving 1 shield for next season at this point. We fire off the Blast Burn. Blast Burn isn't quite lethal. Typhlosion going to be forced to burn the final protection. Already finds itself deep into the red health range. The opponent sends back out Gliscor. Gliscor gets farmed down. There's no chance. There is no shot. The Solar Beam. Bang! There it is. We almost pick up the one-hit KO. Fury Cutter farmed down Lapras's remaining HP. And somehow that one was actually a dub. Heading into the next battle. For all 6 people that watched yesterday's upload that performed terribly, if I'm being brutally honest, I did actually mention one of the main reasons, other than burnout, that I didn't post much this week. I got clapped in the Go Battle League. I was actually running Sceptile, and much like Zach, that bloody thing just lost lead after lead. Zach once again leans onto his Dusknoir save switch and looks to make something happen. This time we're going to full send the Poltergeist. Poltergeist probably does slightly more than the Dynamic Punch, despite Dynamic Punch being super effective. I'll be honest, I'm not entirely sure, but regardless, we managed to force both protections of the opponent in the mid-game matchup. Zach uses Sceptile as the 3rd shield, which essentially is his best use of it. I really love Sceptile, but honestly, that thing was so bloody hard to make work in the Ultra League. The problem with this buff to Fury Cutter is Bug is resisted by so many type-ins. I mean, it really doesn't do anything. You're just reliant on charge move pressure. I found Blossom and Sceptile both better actually running Bullet Seed. Once again, Typhlosion tasked with the heavy lifting. Gonna fire off the Blast Burn, removing Skeledirge from the field of play. Out comes Feraligatr. The opponent tries to catch a Thunder Punch back onto Avalok. Oh, trainer, I am so sorry. Now, I'm not sorry at all. We haven't got Thunder Punch, buddy. We've got Solar Beam. Gator straight in and straight out. And we take that game. Hallelujah, Sceptile picks up a fantastic lead. The opponent save switch into Licky, far too thicky. Zach opts to stay in. In neutral matchup, Sceptile is actually pretty good because Leaf Blade, one of the best moves in the game. You can see it cleanly 2-shots Licky, despite Licky having about 6 bazillion HP. Sceptile tanks the Shadow Ball. Zach gonna overfarm, fire off the next Leaf Blade and look to flip switch, or I should say maintain alignment. We haven't switched out or forced the first Protect Shield of the game. Zach, more than happy with Sceptile's contribution, takes his shield advantage and sends out Typhlosion. Oh boy, I can see the writing on the wall for the opponent. Shout out Home Size Henry. We're going to fully incinerate farm this thing down. Wait for Gastron to return. Gastron thinks it walls the energy. You know, and I know, it certainly does not. Does the opponent respect the beam? Of course they fucking don't. Get that stupid Gastrodon off my screen. Out comes Cradilly, and this game is literally signed, sealed, and delivered. Zach going to invest to protect shield, blocking up the rock tomb. The opponent might have debuffed us, but Typhlosion hits like a truck. Even at -1, this blast burn going to do monstrous damage. Zach banks the blast burn for the road, pivots into Dusknoir, and the opponent concedes the match. GG's, and thanks for playing. In the next battle, we are running it back. Please tell me we're going to beam yet another Gastrodon. We send out Typhlosion into Glaring Weezing, so we probably won't see the beam land in this battle, as Typhlosion will probably have like literally no HP remaining if we're able to maintain alignment here in the mid-game matchup. Glaring Weezing so incredibly spammy, especially on this moveset the opponent's opting for of Brutal Swing and Sludge respectively. Zach invests to protect shield, farms up to the double blast burn. We could have fired off back-to-back, but Zach looks like he's looking to throw a good time in, so he's forced to go down both protect shields. Zach once again banks the Solar Beam, makes the pivot into Sceptile. Sceptile going to be unable to Fury Cut a farm down, so you throw the breaking swipe, forcing the final protect shield of the opponent. I take it back. We're definitely beaming that Gastrodon. We are definitely getting the beam. Send it back out, trainer. Send it back out. Oh, trainer, say it ain't so. Yet another Gastrodon straight in and straight out. Out comes Belly Bolt. Uh-oh. Does Poltergeist save us in this matchup? I guess we're about to find out. Come on, Dusknoir. You're a Shadow. Poltergeist is a good move. Is this Poltergeist enough to pick up the one-hit KO? No, it's not. But we're able to Hex farm down before the opponent reaches the next parabolic charge. And somehow Zach escapes for a dub. What a roller coaster of emotions. In the next battle, we see Glisserpod in the lead position. We're actually able to outpace the Leaf Blade by a single turn. We fire off the Leaf Blade, go for the X as a catch onto Dusknoir. The catch attempt unsuccessful. The opponent bank a boatload of energy and send out Big Man Blastoise. Trainer, it's just a Shadow Punch, I promise. Poltergeist, bang, there it is. Big Man Blastoise straight in and straight out. Oh, I've missed shoutcasting some of these shenanigans. Holy. Out comes Como. It looks like the opponent has learnt their lesson. Invest in a protection of the Dynamic Punch, but the opponent gets greedy. Allow us to reach the second Dynamic Punch, and the opponent very quickly find himself all shields down. We then make the aggressive pivot into Typhlosion, not wanting to concede a farm down. Typhlosion invests to protect shield, returns fire with that blast burn. Blast burn is resisted, but does pick up the knockout. Back out comes poor old Glisserpod. This thing has like 100 energy, but the incinerate damage it does sneak through. The opponent find himself on fractional HP. We can send out either Pokemon here. We opt for Dusknoir, get the Hex farm down, and take that game. In the next battle, we see Tapu Fini in the lead position. I haven't seen one of these things in quite some time. The opponent goes for the catch of the Leaf Blade onto Giratina, but all they catch is that Breaking Swipe work. Breaking Swipe is super effective. Sceptile, pretty attack weighted, but without getting the same type of attack bonus, it looks like we're going to need at least 3 to pick up a knockout. I believe we actually went 2 for 2 on attack drops on Giratina, meaning this Dragon Claw is going to do absolutely nothing. This next one still won't be lethal either, and we see the instant no shield from Zach. Zach's going to return fire with yet another Breaking Swipe. This Breaking Swipe likewise won't quite be lethal. We then see the aggressive pivot into Typhlosion, baiting back out Tapu Fini. Yes, shield Zach. Yes, shield. It's time for another Solar Beam. I'm telling you, it's another Solar Beam nuke. There's no shot the opponent's shield. This is just a Thunder Punch. Or at least the Thermine. Solar Beam. Get that Tapu Fini off my screen. Oh man, we're in shambles. Out comes Skeledirge. Skeledirge going to be greeted with that Blast Burn. Blast Burn, of course, is supposed to be resisted, but still forces the opponent's final Protect Shield. Zach, more than happy with Typhlosion's monstrous contribution. Let's let it go down. We now send out Dusknoir. Dusknoir with 1 shield to hide behind. Going to be investing it here. The opponent go for the Shadow Ball. Full send in a Hail Mary. The opponent then tries to catch on Giratina. Catch attempt unsuccessful. And Zach going to land 1 final big boom in this battle. Firing off the Poltergeist. And that is going to be all she wrote. GG's that opponent. Ask yourself, are you not entertained? Is this not better than top team videos or practice battles? If you share that same opinion, consider leaving a like and trying to revive my very dead channel. In the next battle, we see Sceptile into Como. Yet another matchup where that Fury Cutter quick move is resisted, but Sceptile was able to strike first and force the first Protect Shield of the game with the Breaking Swipe. The opponent fired off the Brick Break. Sceptile shrugged off the damage and was able to land the second Breaking Swipe, leaving Como into the red health range. Out comes Dusknoir We invest in protection, the opponent fires off yet another brick break. What a savage. That is a double resisted move, but does lower our defense. Zach, undeterred, going to full send the Poltergeist on the incoming for Alligator. Oh, for Alligator, straight in and straight out. Out comes Skeledirge. We reset that defense debuff, send out Typhlosion, and I cannot see a path forward for this opponent. They invest the Protect Shield, blocking up the Blast Burn. Zach, like, enjoy yourself, trainer. They go for the Shadow Ball, picking up the knockout. The opponent's already seen that we've got that Hail Mary Poltergeist. If they want that work, Zach is about to give it to him. The opponent fire off the Torch Song. Zach able to outpace the Poltergeist, which is going to be massive overkill, but is going to enable us to emerge victorious. GG's that opponent. Heading into the next battle, we see the Kentucky Fried Chicken, Bird of Death, the Nightmare lead, once again leaning on the Shadow Dusknoir save switch, and out comes Belly Bolt. My gosh, do we need this to go unshielded? Come on, trainer. Poltergeist! Oh! Holy cow, man, this is getting ridiculous. Dusknoir commits to the next Poltergeist as well. Unfortunately, not at the best timing, but they should be forcing our Protect Shield back. This is definitely going to be a scenario where we will be missing that Thunder Punch, as Thunder Punch is not only super effective, but also cheaper than the Blast Burn. We correctly shield up the Brave Bird. Zach could have fired off the Blast Burn, but I guess he was worried about a potential catch. The opponent YOLO yet another Brave Bird, and then send out Tentacruel. We bank a boatload of energy and send out Sceptile. Sceptile going to go for the breaking swap, fishing for that attack drop. Of course, Leaf Blade would do more. The opponent, to my surprise, actually invested a Protect Shield there. Not sure on that shield. I guess their thought process is, holy crap, there's another boom. What is going on in this battle? There's booms going off left, right, and centre. Speaking of which, we fire off the Solar Beam. Solar Beam isn't quite lethal. Typhlosion able to incinerate Farm down, leaving with the Blast Burn. That has got to be one of the craziest battles I've ever shoutcast. We've YOLO'd them nukes. The opponent like, I saw your nukes. Have some nukes of our own. Heading into the next battle. Sceptile into Galarian Moltres. At least in this matchup, the Fury Cutters do hit for neutral, as Dark takes super effective, whereas Flying does resist Bug. We land the first breaking swipe. Zach kind of obliged to shield here, as Fly would be massive overkill. Sceptile is so bloody glassy. Zach invests to Protect Shield, heavily over farms. Looks to throw on charge attack priority, firing off the next breaking swipe. Breaking swipe, force our Protect Shield back. What I was going to say in the last battle before I got distracted by all them huge booms was the reason Tentacruel shielded. They probably thought that a stab Shadow Leaf Blade would do more than a non-stab Thunder Punch. Zach sent out Typhlosion through 2 Incinerators, then sniped with Dusknoir to also get an energy lead, and out comes Scizor. We fire off the Dynamic Punch. Oh my days, I can't believe the opponent didn't respect that. Scizor uses essentially shield everything. I guess the opponent looked to call the Shadow Punch that we're not even running. Zach able to invest the Protect Shield, get the 4 Hex Farm down, and out comes Skeledirge. Zach actually going for the Dynamic Punch bait, which is kind of mad, but Dynamic Punch is our cheapest move. Zach farms up, leaves 1 Hex off the charge moves. Here the opponent's got undercharge. They need to leave with a charge move, because if they leave 1 Incinerate off, which they do, we're able to outpace to the Poltergeist, and you already know that is going to be all she wrote. Very well played game. GG's. Heading into the next battle, we see Florges in the lead position. Once again, a matchup where this bug-type quick move of Fury Cutter is doing absolutely nothing for us. The opponent doesn't even build up to the Moonblast, actually fire off the Trailblaze. Not sure on that play. We then send out Typhlosion and out comes Swampert. Okay, we're actually going to shield here. And we're actually full sending as well. Surely if we shielded, this might actually be respected. The opponent probably thinking, if we're going to invest the protection, we might actually run that surprise nuke. A very nice shield invested from the opponent. Much to my disappointment. Zach now sends back out Sceptile. Sceptile going to heavily overfarm and look to fire off the Leaf Blade. Leaf Blade double super effective. Oh my days, no trainer. They invest the Protect Shield. We're doubled up and Sceptile able to win the charge attack priority. Sceptile finally putting in that work. We then pivot into Dusknoir and out comes Tentacruel. I think our win con from this point is YOLO a couple of Poltergeist, 1 to knock out Tentacruel and 1 to knock out Florges. The opponent go for the Acid Spray bait. Acid Spray and a Ghost type is certainly a decision. The opponent fire off the Trailblaze. We invest that Protect Shield, fire off the Poltergeist. We see an undercharge attempt, even undercharge. Poltergeist still removes Florges from the field of play. Zach still able to outpace this big squid to the next Poltergeist. Tentacruel might think it's thick, but Dusknoir says, you sir are not thick enough, and we take that game. In the next battle, we see Swampert in the lead position. What the heck is that? Excadrill in the Ultra League. Oh my gosh. If the opponent didn't throw here, I think they would win the fast move beatdown races. The next Mud Slap would knock us out, meaning the Incinerate would not register, but Zach not complaining, able to invest the Protect Shield. Incinerate farm down, leaving with the Solar Beam. Swampert straight in and straight out, and out comes Sylveon. Sylveon with 2 shields to hide behind, kind of scary, as they are applying quite a lot of fast move pressure. Sceptile going to fire off the Leaf Blade. Leaf Blade strips the first Protect Shield. Zach actually going to put it all on Dusknoir and look to reach back-to-back Poltergeist. Sceptile actually able to survive the side shot, but unable to reach another move, and it is now Dusknoir tasked with the clean-up duty. Zach actually going for the Dynamic Punch bait. I guess the opponent's kind of obliged to shield. Dynamic Punch forces the opponent's final protection. The opponent looking for that full tap. Charm down, farm down. Dusknoir says no, reaches the Poltergeist, and Poltergeist, of course, easily going to knock out, and we take that game. And that looks like that is how Zach clutched up a big fat 5-0. You absolutely love to see it. Heading into the next battle. Sceptile into Bellybolt. As someone who's used Sceptile, this matchup's nowhere near as good as you might anticipate. The Sucker Punches do ridiculous damage, and if the opponent wants to, if they shield the first move, this gets very awkward. Bellybolt has very quickly become my least favourite Pokemon in Season 23. I think it's such an unskilled pick. All people do is shield, force alignment, and they run some kind of nonsense backline. But even down a Protect Shield, having the correct alignment gives them a get out of jail free card, often paired with stuff like Charmers and Mud Slappers. You put your Charmer on like a Fighter or a Dark type, you put your Mud Slapper on a Fire type, and regardless of any shield advantage, you're in for a good time. Well, that's usually the case, but if this opponent's got a Ground type, they are not in for a good time whatsoever. As we've got Solar Beam, speaking of which, any Water type's not in for a good time. Blinking, you might miss it. This silly Gator straight in and straight out. Vanquish straight back to the Pokeball. The opponent doesn't want the smoke, and they concede the match. In the next battle, another tough lead for poor old Sceptile. We see Nidoqueen in the lead position. We see a very nice attempted Poison Fang catch onto Dusknoir. A catch attempt unsuccessful. The opponent then Earth Power us to the face and then send out Tentacruel. ABA Poison is certainly a strange strategy. What does this opponent do against the Mud Slapper? Once again, the Poltergeist gets absolutely no respect and does like 90% of Tentacruel's HP. Poltergeist is such a fun nuke, man. Zach, not interested in fighting for switch advantage, instead going to send out Typhlosion to get an energy lead. The opponent sends out Lapras. We bank the Blast Burn, go for the Wham Bam combo play, fire off the Leaf Blade. Leaf Blade forces the opponent's first Protect Shield. Unless I'm mad, this is only a Sparkling Aria. They don't have the energy for an Ice Beam. The opponent fire off the Sparkling Aria, then snipe with Nidoqueen. A nice play on the opponent's part, and it's now Typhlosion versus the world. Shadow Ty instantly get debuffed by the incoming Poison Fang, and this now potentially puts us in a scenario where we're just going to die to quick moves. Typhlosion going to release the Blast Burn. Blast Burn removes Nidoqueen from the field of play. Back out comes Lapras. Can Lapras Psywave farm us down before we reach the double Blast Burn? They cannot. You know the drill. The first one will be forcing the opponent's final Protect Shield, and the second one is going to be all she wrote. GG's to that opponent, and very cool team. Shiny Nidoqueen with 2 Shadow Shinies as well. You love to see it. Heading into the next battle. The tough leads for Shadow Sceptile are unrelenting as we see a Fury Cutter Gliscopod in the lead position. Is that going to stay in? Go straight for the Leaf Blade, which is 1 turn before the opponent potentially reach the X Scissor. We then see the attempted catch onto Dusknoir. The catch attempt unsuccessful, but it's nice for the opponent to dump their energy. Opponent fire off the Aqua Jet and then send out Charizard. I think this goes shielded. Charizard users love to shield. Poltergeist. Oh my gosh, the opponent didn't respect the damage. Charizard straight in and straight out. Yet another huge boom. I see so many people say, why give these Pokemon Poltergeist? It is such a nonsense move that isn't usable. I've been spreading this propaganda for a while. People are going to start believing it. How many Pokemon do we need to one-shot before people believe Poltergeist is that moveset you are looking for? Speaking of movesets, Zach's now forced all shields down with the opponent. This now sets up the opportunity to Solar Beam whatever's in the back. Out comes Annihilate, so Blast Burn's probably the way to go. But when you get the opportunity to throw the beam, you've always got to YOLO it. Solar Beam, massive overkill. Back out comes Gliscopod. Gliscopod gets Incinerate farm down, and we take that game. Oh man, I've completely lost the plot. Heading into the next battle, we see Regidrago in the lead position. The opponent try for a catch onto Virizion. Catch attempt unsuccessful, and Typhlosion hits the field of play. Virizion fires off a charge move after only 4 double kicks. That cannot be a stone edge, so we see a very confident no shield from Zach. Zach then fires off the blast burn, removing Virizion from the field of play. Back out comes Reggie Drago, looking for that farm down, but Typhlosion still not done. Gonna fire off the departing blast burn and even resisted, putting them down to around the 3rd health range. Zach banked the break-in swipe and able to win the charge attack priority. The opponent has got so much energy, they're forced to invest to protect shield. Zach with a decision to make, not willing to shield the opponent, go for the break-in swipe bait. We then see the pivot into Dusknoir, looking to get ahead in energy. Dusknoir is going to invest to protect shield. The opponent once again fire off the break-in swipe. Thankfully, we don't get debuffed. Dusknoir gets a massive farm down. The opponent sends out Tentacruel, and you already know there is no reason in baiting. We fire off the first Poltergeist. The opponent doesn't respect the damage. They see how much it does, and they are instantly going to run for the hills, heading into the next battle. We see Golurk in the lead position. The opponent say switch into Goodra. No immediate response, so Zach opts to stay in, fire off the break-in swipe, looking for some chip and dip damage. Looks like he's actually more than happy to fully sacrifice Sceptile here. If they're on Thunder Punch and Aquatail, this move won't even knock us out. This opponent's actually opting for Power Whip. Goodra's a bit of a bag of tricks, to be honest. Aquatail Thunder Punch is the most common moves that you see. It's also got Power Whip and 2 Hail Marys in Sludge Wave and Draco Meteor respectively. Quite surprised to see Zach not invest to protect shield here, as we kind of need Dusknoir to do a lot of heavy lifting, as the opponent likely reveal their 3rd, not wanting to send Golurk into a loaded Dusknoir. And of course that means Typhlosion is going to be aligned against Golurk in the end game. Or perhaps not if the opponent doesn't respect the Poltergeist. Poltergeist almost one-shots Wheezing. We then snipe with Typhlosion. Back out comes Golurk. The non-shadow variant isn't actually doing all that much damage to us. Zach going to invest to protect shield and look to reach the double blast burn. Zach able to reach the double. The first one will be forcing the opponent's final protect shield. The second will be knocking them out. And who was worried? Clearly I was, but Zach says Shadow Typhlosion is a regular Golurk counter confirmed. You heard it here first. GG's. Heading into the next battle, we once again see Bellybolt in the lead position. I have no doubt the opponent's going to try and invest protect shield and look to cheese their way through this matchup. That's kind of what all these Bellybolt trainers do. They're all the same. They love to force alignment, even if it means going down protect shield. Zach able to outpace to the next Leaf Blade, and I guarantee this goes shielded. I think this is why I'm enjoying today's shoutcast so much, because if we find a cheesy opponent here that's one of them people that want to force alignment at all costs, we've got 2 Pokemon that are just going to boom whatever they've got in the back. The combination of Dynamic Punch, Poltergeist, Blast Burn and Solar Beam, when shields are down, is absolutely going to go to town. I'm sure the opponent's absolutely crapping their pants thinking, what can I send out that's going to tank this energy from Typhlosion? Skeledirge, not a bad pick. Although in fairness, 2 Blast Burns still knock them out. We send out Dusknoir, the opponent pivots into Cresselia. Cresselia, one of the few Pokemon that can actually tank a Poltergeist. Not well, but it is survivable. I think here we just save the shield for Typhlosion and double Blast Burn that Skeledirge. Zach has other ideas. Invest to protect shield on Dusknoir. Is that going to cost us? The opponent fire off the Torch Song. It doesn't get the job done, so Dusknoir is going to clean up. I think the safer play definitely would have been saving a shield for Typhlosion, but either way, the result ends the same with Zach emerging victorious. Heading into the next battle, we see Florges in the lead position. By no means a good matchup, but potentially a win in the Zero Shield as long as Sceptiles are able to survive a Moonblast. The last time we saw a Florges lead, they made our life very simple as they threw a silly Trailblaze bait. This opponent at least build up to the Moonblast, but once again go for the Trailblaze bait. Zach like, nah, we don't shield baits in this household. Zach fires off the Leaf Blade, and it is a clean win in the Zero Shield scenario. The opponent then sends out Skeledirge. We see the pivot into Typhlosion. Typhlosion going to call the Torch Song bait. Trainer, learn your lesson. The opponent's thrown 2 baits, and Zach hasn't shielded either. Typhlosion over farms, fires off the Blast Burn. Blast Burn forces the opponent's first protect shield. Zach actually going to elect to let himself go down, but the issue here is the Incinerates are now 2-stage boosted and going to tear through Dusknoir's HP. We see the instant shield deployed, blocking up the incoming Torch Song, but the Incinerates now 3-stage boosted. We pivot into Sceptile, look to reach the break-in swipe, unfortunately unable to do so. Zach invests the final protect shield, blocking up yet another Torch Song. Dusknoir able to incinerate farm down. I didn't even see what's in the back, but I anticipated not tanking this Poltergeist particularly well. It's a Feraligatr. Feraligatr able to withstand the damage, but 2 further hexes get us over the line. Heading into the next battle, this time we see Feraligatr in the lead position. The opponent say no thank you, say switch into Giratina, and looks like Zach's more than happy to stay in. Sceptile fires off the break-in swipe to my surprise, forcing us an early shield advantage. It's kind of crazy that Giratina, one of the OGs and bulkiest mon of the meta, shields a non-stab break-in swipe. Whilst it is super effective, it's not really worth respecting. It only does about 40%. Even after a whole heap of resisted Fury Cutter damage, the next break-in swipe didn't even get him below the half health range. We finally get him below half health, fire off the next break-in swipe. Zac actually goes to the undercharge, sends out Typhlosion and looks to get ahead in energy. The opponent bank a boatload of energy, send out Gator, down a Protect Shield and behind an energy. We full send the Solar Beam. Does the opponent respect the damage? They do not. Down goes Gator, yet another Gator one-shot vanquished, back to its Pokeball. Back out comes Giratina. The opponent opts to instant throw, which is definitely a terrible idea against a 5-turn move user, giving us a full 23 energy. Zac shields the first Dragon Claw, tanks the next one. Out comes Granbull. Granbull obviously going to shield up this Blast Burn, as Blast Burn would pretty much pick up a one-hit KO. We then pivot into Dusknoir, and this game is signed, sealed, and delivered. Zac reaches the Poltergeist, but loses CMP, of course. He can just shield this up. We've already tapped the Poltergeist, and Poltergeist going to be massive overkill. Hi Granbull, bye Granbull. GG's, and thanks for playing. Heading into the next battle. Finally, Sceptile finds one of its targets. We see Big Man Blastoise in the lead position. The opponent say switches into Nidoqueen, and we respond with Dusknoir. Dusknoir can tank an Earth Power, although Shadow was Shadow Crime. That was pretty dicey, to be brutally honest. We left us deep in the red health range. We full send the Poltergeist. Poltergeist forces the protection. The opponent actually able to flip alignment here in the mid-game matchup. Zac sends out Typhlosion. Typhlosion instantly gets his defense lowered with the incoming Poison Fang. Zac taking no chances, just going to fire off the Blast Burn and finally look to remove this Nidoqueen from the field of play. Back out comes Blastoise. We need to reset that debuff. We pivot into Sceptile and out comes Ferrothorn. How the heck do we win this game? We're somehow going to have to Solar Beam that Blastoise. Man, this looks rough. Well, the opponent is doing their best to find their lose con, not even building up to a potential Flash Cannon. I think Flash Cannon is certainly the move you want to run on Ferrothorn. Some run Thunder, some run Mirror Shot. I wouldn't really recommend Mirror Shot. I think Thunder or Flash Cannon, you want one of them coverage moves, and the choice is yours. They still need to throw something that isn't a Power Whip to pick up the knockout. The opponent, they had Flash Cannon the whole time. This one's GG's. And unfortunately, not in our favour. Our only win con at this point is the opponent looking to shield flex. We shield up the Blast Burn. YOLO the Solar Beam. That is our win con. Solar Beam. No! The opponent fucked about. They found out. And Zac able to escape with a dub. Heading into the next battle. Sceptile into Regidrago. As far as leads go, this one isn't too bad for us, as the break-in swipe hits for super effective. And Regidrago nowhere near as bulky as something like Giratina. Able to force herself an early shield advantage. The opponent is going to have to full send a Dragon Energy to pick up the knockout. Break-in swipe simply will not cut it. Speaking of break-in swipe, you guessed it, we're going to YOLO yet another break-in swipe. Break-in swipe able to land. We then see the aggressive pivot into Dusknoir, looking to get ahead in energy and not concede a farm down. Yet another break-in swipe is thrown, and the opponent then pivot out into Tentacruel, which of course is by no means a good answer, as Ghost does resist poison. We fire off the Poltergeist. I can't believe that went shielded. The first Tentacruel has respected the damage. The opponent then fire off the Skull. Dusknoir withstands the damage. Looks to reach the next Poltergeist. Zac recognises he won't be able to reach it and settles the Dynamic Punch, wanting to get up any chip damage he can. Dynamic Punch was actually thrown on the CMP tile. That didn't do much, but potentially puts it closer and closer to Blast Burn range. Typhlosion hits the field of play. Oh my gosh, what a savage catch from Zac. Let's go. Typhlosion still tasked a very tricky 1v3, but out comes Cobalion. It's going to be 1v2 as Cobalion going to be straight in and straight out. Blast Burn picks up that one hit KO. Back out comes Regidrago. Dragon does resist fire, but have no doubt Blast Burn will be moving Regidrago from the field of play. Just Tentacruel remains. Zac looking to commit to the Solar Beam. I think Blast Burn would get the job done, but we're going to be able to survive enough Poison Stings to reach that Hail Mary Solar Beam, so why not throw it? When the opportunity presents yourself, you've always got to land that Hail Mary beam. GG's, and thanks for playing. What a epic way to end today's Shoutcast. A huge shout out to Zac, that was absolutely phenomenal. I'm sure you can all tell by my lack of uploads recently that personally I'm not really enjoying the game too much, which kind of leans into me making less content. However, it's submissions like this that remind me why I still do make content. because I have so much fun when I get an absolute banger like this. So if you're enjoying the content, smash that like button. If you're new, consider subscribing if you like your battles featured on my channel. A link to a battle submission form is down below. And as always, a huge thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.